Hey, what's up guys? I'm back with another video. So a lot has happened since the last video. If you haven't noticed, my XP bar is getting closer and closer to 2 bill. We should be achieving that within next couple weeks, depending on what I plan on doing. And it's gone up quite a bit. I think the last video I was like 100 million less or so. So we've gained around 100 million XP since then. And that is because we participated in the Olympus bingo and we used a lot of our banked experience. And I guess I'll get into that. It's around 2 or 3 weeks ago I began preparing for the bingo. We fished a lot of cram bonds. I think I was around 70 or 80,000 last video or so, and I fished for an entire week straight. We ended up reaching around 215,000 crams, and I'll get into it soon. We ended up cooking all of that during the bingo, gaining quite a bit of XP. Alright, so let's get into the draft, because for those who don't know, I was a captain of one of the teams, and this is how it went. So I was the first pick on the board, and basically each captain and co-captain placed themselves where they felt appropriate on the board, and then we had to fill in the empty spots with players, and the numbers beside the names are the order. It's like a snake draft, so you go from left and from right to left, from left to right, and from right to left, back and forth. So we weren't able to pick until the 6th round, which we picked up Tails. Surprisingly, we thought he would have gone somewhere in the 2nd and 5th pick there, but yeah, he got through, so that was huge. We got Tails and Fat Clouds in the same round, and then from there on, we just tried to draft anyone with cram bonds, basically. So Sander had a ton of cram bonds, Tails had a ton, Fat Clouds had a bunch, Aribata had a bunch, Mortal Coil had a bunch. Basically, in the pre-planning draft, I just set up a list of who had a ton of cram bonds and who had a lot of banked cooking, and I weighed those people kind of high, and then went down the list on who had cram bonds. Because if you see here, so here's the sheet that we had. Basically just made a sheet for all the banked experience, and since it's important that you don't go too over what you wrote down in your sign up, because we draft according to sign up, and if you put a lot more down than you had signed up, then it causes a lot of issues and could make it a little unfair. So everyone has what they had signed up with and what they planned on using, and you can see here basically we had around 400 EHP in cooking, which was around 200 million cooking in our team alone. So that meant that since each tile up to the elite was 200 hours, that means we could use the dupe tile, which was basically you could duplicate any tile of your choosing. So we would dupe the cook tile and do it twice. So that's 400 hours available for cooking. That's exactly how much we had. So we kind of drafted perfectly for that. 400 hours exactly in cooking, and then 250 hours. So we had just over 200 hours in herblores. So we could get that tile done easily. Crafting tile, 250 hours. So that was all sorted out. We just needed 200 hours. Construction, 99.2 hours. You'll see we ended up using exactly 100 hours. So that worked out perfectly. Room crafting, 25 hours. Someone ended up just using their essence. They didn't really plan on using, but we had to get the tile done, so that got finished. And fire making, I had 100 hours or 90 hours or so, I guess, in redwood logs. And yeah, I'll show you how it ended up going. So these are the actual tiles on the board. 200 is the cap. The thresholds for each point, you can see down here, there's 44 points. Each point is 50 hours. So 200 hours will give you 4 points. And then the board is kind of like in a 4x4. So if you have a row or a column completed in a specific tile difficulty, you'll get an extra point, which is a bonus point. And that caps at 8 points. So yeah, we did everything we had planned to. 200 mil fire making, not 200 mil fire making, 200 hours of fire making, 200 hours of cooking, plus the dupe tile, 200 hours of cooking. Slayer, luckily we had Fat Clouds who was able to help us out with that, His Slayer was having some issues. Not a lot of us were interested in doing that. Mining got done. Raids got done. They sent a bunch of team raids halfway through. They were going pretty sweaty, doing like 4 or 5 mans. Just no cooldown raids, just right back in. That was pretty cool to see. Crafting we got done. We had a lot of hides banked, and then the rest was done just through glass. Just glass when people needed AFK, so that got done in the end. We got it completed right at the very end, so it was like perfect. We didn't go over anything. Woodcutting, yeah, we had a bunch of people that sweated out the woodcutting up to the very end. A bunch of 1.5 tickers, Cavo and Mortal Coil was woodcutting. We had Mason woodcutting. We basically had like 6 or 7 people on in the last day that were just solely just ticking woodcut, so that was pretty cool to see. And everyone worked together and get that tile done right on time. I think we completed the woodcutting tile with 2 or 3 hours left in the bingo. We completed the 150, and the only thing left at that point in our goals were to complete fishing, because fishing was like 190 or so. So they all, like 7 or 8 of them, just went from woodcutting straight to fishing. Got that done in like half an hour. Got 200 hours done, and then the only thing that remained at the end of the bingo was we were around 50 or like 60 agility going into the last day. 50 hours or 60 hours of agility. Where's that? Down here. And we had like the people who didn't know how to woodcut, or people who didn't know how to fish well, that knew how to sepulcher. They were running sepulcher the entire last day for the most part. Not a lot of us were getting much sleep near the end, so a lot of us were doing some pretty fried sepulcher runs, myself included. So we were doing that. I was doing that all day for the most part, just doing agility. Took a little break to do some fire making because I had to get done. We had 2 guys on the fire making tile that day, on the very final day, just doing winter tot. And then I helped them out with some redwood logs at the end to try to get them all on the same tile faster, because it'd be easier just to hop from one tile to another just as a big group rather than having a couple people on each. Yeah, so talking about the agility, so we had 70 hours in agility completed out of the 100, with around an hour and a half to 2 hours left in the comp. So the next point threshold, which means we were at 43 points, to get that 44th point, we would have to, in an hour and a half, just try to get agility to 100 as fast as possible. So we were at 70, 72, and then we had 19 guys on agility. Probably 8 or 9 of us maybe were on sepulcher. 10 of them were just running already, probably on the same world. Everyone was just running it together. It was pretty epic to see. 19 out of 22 players were just going ham on agility. A couple people like I think Fat Cloud just came home from a wedding. He was doing some mobile RD rooftops and then managed to get on his computer for the last hour to help out with that. And we had a Rubber Apple come the last couple hours. He had a busy day and managed to get in a couple hours of sepulcher in, which we definitely needed. So that props to those guys for stepping up and joining us. That was awesome in their busy days. So yeah, so how it went is we didn't log out until like a couple minutes before the bingo ended. So we had no idea if we had enough for the 100, which would give us the 44th point. And we were all running laps, all running sepulcher, just praying we had enough of us. So we need to have an average around 115k, which was going to be very close. Like it was so close, because sepulcher getting like 85, 90k an hour. We were doing it for around an hour and a half, so that means we were getting maybe 140k, and then the people at Artie were getting maybe 95 to 100k. So it was close, like 115, 120k average probably. And yeah, so we logged out, updated the high scores, and we completed 102 hours of agility. So we went a couple over, which was awesome to see. That couple over went to our total hours, which is what it ended up coming down to. Since we were tied on tile points, we each received the same amount of tile points. It came down to less than 50-hour difference, which means we went to total hours. We lost by 4 hours. The other team was doing fire making on the last couple hours as a team. We were doing agility, so they were probably getting like 0.9 to 1-to-1, maybe over EHP, because some of them were burning logs, redwood logs and stuff, which was over EHP. I definitely benefited in that fact, having that available to do. We had that already completed, so we couldn't do that. We had to do agility at 0.7 and like 0.9. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Lost by 4 hours in the end, and that's pretty crazy to think about. If everyone on the team just played 11 more minutes, we would have won. But that's how close it was. It's pretty crazy. Never seen a bingo that close. And yeah, it was definitely the bingo I enjoyed the most out of any. In the past, usually by the 6th or 7th day out of the 10, one of the teams is out or two of the teams are out. And if it's a 4 or 3 team bingo, and up into this bingo, it wasn't until like the last or second last day that the Garrux goats were out. They were too far behind. And then the months meltdown, and my team, we were neck and neck up into the very last minute, the very last second. It gives anyone's game, so it was a lot of fun to do. I guess I'll get into what I specifically did, since I've talked about the whole team and how that went. This is the board hours from the bingo. You can see here that this is basically it's scaled to specific rates, so you can get over EHP and some stuff. That's basically all I focused on, just getting all the banked XP used. We did 90 hours of fire making on the 90 board hours of fire making. We also did I don't know how much cooking. Was it 60 hours? 60 hours of cooking, maybe more. I can't remember. We did a lot of cooking. It was 215k grams, however that much is in hours. It was quite a bit of hours in cooking. Then we did a little bit of herblore, 10 hours of construction, actually maybe like 13 hours of construction. I ended up using my teak planks, which I had been saving up for sepulcher, making the bridges and stuff. I ended up just saying screw it and use that because our column tile wasn't getting done. And we needed over EHP to help save us some time, so I sent the teak planks. Sadly, I'll have to get some more if I want to go back to sepulcher and make bridges in the future. I might have to change my kingdom up to teaks now instead of mahoganies for like a month. Yeah, so I used con, herb, cook, did some prayer and fire making, and I also did a couple mil of drift net fishing. We needed hunter, so I said I'd do the last 10 hours or so through birdhouses and drift nets. So as you can see, that's probably why I'm making drift nets right now, because I really enjoyed the method. It was my first time doing it, and I loved it a lot. So I just want to get these nets done and just get back to that. All right, so yeah, the team did really well. Tails popped off. He was the MVP of the team. The last day, the guy sent 500 Zolra in a day. So no, I can't argue with that, man. Definitely went over expectations. We had him around. I think I had him around 170 hours, and he did 181. He definitely really helped us with the EHP tile. We had around 120 or something hours the last day, so we needed 30 hours of it, and Tails helped out with that. It's a lot of Zora, which we definitely needed, or else that wouldn't have got completed. We would have had to put more mans on that, and we wouldn't have got the other tiles completed. So he was doing like insane Zora, insane fast Zora kills. So that helped out a lot. Honk was sleep depriving himself the last few days. Man was not logging out. It was crazy to see someone who would stay up as long as I did, and it was pretty. I was pretty impressed by that. I definitely did not expect him to get that many hours. I think I had him down for 100 hours or something, and he was my what round pick? Oh, he was 19th pick, so he definitely went way above expectations. Yeah, I appreciate everyone just trying their best. Just being positive. All right, I guess I'll get into the exact XP. You can see here, our team ended up getting more XP than any of the other teams. We got around 537 mil XP, thanks to a lot of cooking. You can see here, my team specifically, there's a lot of 40 mils here. These are the cooking guys. And yeah, everyone did really well. I got almost 100 mil in the 9 days. So I averaged just over 10 mil a day. It's pretty cool. So we end up getting most XP anyone else in the comp, and another guy on my team, Sober Sander, got second most XP in the comp. We had also fourth most XP in the comp, so a lot of cookers came out. If you look here, I'll just go to the cooking, show you that. 200 million cooking. This is our team's cooking here. I got 47 mil, 41 mil myself, 31 mil, 20 mils. Like, damn. We definitely drafted for a lot of Karambons, and I guess I'll just go into specifically what I accomplished during the comp. We'll go here, click on this profile here. This was what I obtained over the course of 9 days. 91 mil XP, 282 iron EHP. I'll just go into the order and like play by play and what I did. The first 6 hours of the comp, that's pre 6 hours, you can log before the comp starts. I did a 5-hour fire making grind where I did redwoods in the GE, and then I ate for a bit, had dinner, and then did a little bit more of that before the 6 hour ended. After that, I think I went right back. Yeah, I went right back into fire making once the comp actually began. Fire made for 20 hours straight. My power went out for half an hour. Started doing herblore, a little bit of herblore at the bank since it was nice to do on mobile. And then I fell asleep like 9 minutes. I fell asleep for after like the 20 hours into the comp. I fell asleep for 9 minutes. My power was out, and I was just doing herblore on my phone, and I got just dozed off. And then I woke back up feeling refreshed. Did another 10 hours where we I think we just went right into cooking because I wanted to do an actual 30-hour fire making at redwoods, redwood like burning, and that got kind of interrupted, and I got kind of like demotivated to keep going because I lost so much time. I wouldn't have had like a nice 30-hour fire making, so through that and just did 10 more hours of cooking instead, and started into the cooking grind. And then I think I went to bed for 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. I think I was doing like 4.5-hour intervals of sleep. It's because you're like, it's like just the right amount, 4.5 hours. Like I think you have to get like 90-minute intervals, and yeah, that was what I was doing. So 4.5 hours usually was how much I was sleeping on a like when I did sleep, which wasn't too often. And then I began my 30 hours of cooking. I believe I started that day. It might have been a little later, but yeah, we did 30 hours of cooking. So it was like 30 hours of fire making / herblore, and then 30 hours of cooking to try to get the cooking 30-hour record. So I took my Karambons to the Tazar cooking range because I don't have the myth guild unlocked, and then we cooked there. We cooked around 41 mil cooking in total. I'll go into the day record here. Let's look here. We have records for cooking. This is the normie records. So this is out of everyone, not even just only Iron Man. Cut off. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, so the day record was 25.5 mil. Jesus, that record's been there for a while. I managed to break it. I couldn't break that one, but we managed to break the second place record and get second place. God, I was the first 20 hours of cooking, like one ticking for 20 hours straight, was okay. The last 10 hours was absolutely miserable. It was so bad. I was just completely fried in the head because I'd done 30 hours, 4 hours sleep, 4.5 hours sleep, and then 30 hour again, and I was just completely fried by 20 hours in, and the rates were getting like super scuffed. I was probably getting like 800k an hour. I think I was getting like close to 900k an hour for the first 20 hours, and then we were getting like 800, 850k an hour in the last 10 hours, and the last maybe 2 or 3 hours were absolutely terrible. I was probably getting 700k an hour. I kept like dozing off. I think the last hour I had like a massive headache. I was just doing like shark cooking or something in bed. Like I was just making wines and sharks in bed because I couldn't do it anymore. I wish I had actually gotten some actual sleep before starting that, but yeah, we did what we could, and I beat the second place. That's all I wanted to do, and I couldn't have gotten the first place record regardless. I would have had to really keep up some good rates, and I wasn't really averaging enough. I needed an extra an hour and a half to beat him. I stopped like half an hour early. I think I did 29 and a half hours when I beat that guy, and I just said, all right, let's just go to bed. Like I can't beat the next guy. I'm not gonna bother doing another 100k XP. So I just went to sleep. 29 and a half hours in. All right, and then that ended up being the rank 1 iron record. I kind of want to show you guys here what my team was up to. Look at this. So this is I can whoops. All right, so that's me that's my team. The top 3 days are my team. Oh, rank 6 is on my team. Rank 6 is on my team. Rank 10 is on my team. Rank 12 is on my team. Rank 14 was on my team. So like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 15 that were this week during bingo. Okay, well that's enough of that. Let's go back into what I was going through here. Okay, so once the cooking was done, I did like another half day of cooking, finished that off, 41 mil, and did a lot of more fire making. We were 10 mil into fire making at this point. We finished the cooking, so we did another 26 mil fire making redwood logs. The GE did those for 2-3 days. That's probably 3 more days of fire making to get that done. So now we're into like day 7. I guess we're into like day 7. Actually, it's probably more like day 8 that we finished fire making, because I also did some con in between some fire making there, in between that, and some crafting and herblore and some agility. So it wasn't until day 8 we finished using all the banked XP, and that's when we began doing the drift net fishing. So that's 1.1 mil XP in fishing, and then 1.4 mil XP in hunter, which was all through drift net fishing. What's that, 12? It's like 12 hours or so, right? It's like, yeah, like 10 or 12 hours just straight drift net fishing, which helped us get the fishing tile done, which we were getting close and getting 200 hours in, and then the hunter tile done, which we stopped around 40 hours, and then just told everyone to do birdhouse runs, and then I would do drift nets to complete it. So, because that was over 1-to-1. For 1 hour put in, I was getting over 1 hour on the board because of how the rates were scaled. So I could get like 1.05 or 1.1 hours for every hour I put in, which would be nice. Because instead of people, we had people doing like herbivore, because we needed the 50 hours in hunter. So like the first 40 hours was just like birdhouses and like herbivore and some red chins, which if the rates scaled to 240k, you're getting like 0.6, 0.7, which was not that great. So I wanted people off that as quickly as possible. Once 40 hours was reached, I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll just do the drift nets and passively get that done. Crafting was just a little bit of glass and some gems. Agility, sepulcher only. Last day, especially we did sepulcher the last day, got like 500, 600k, and then we did like 200k before that, just throughout the week. That is about it. Nothing really else to say. Did contracts. Did a decent amount of contracts, like not as much as last time. Last time I did 220, 230 contracts. This time I only did like 50, 60. I don't even know. What was it? Let's see. We did 37. Yeah, nice. I was definitely not focusing on that. They reduced the contract tile this bingo. Last time it was like really hard to complete. Like you really had to sweat like 15 a day to complete. Like everyone had to do that much. So not everyone does that much, right? Because you have UIMs who can't do them. So you'd have to get like 20, 25 a day. And yeah, so it would be pretty sweaty. So I only had to do like 37, and we were well overdone. The tile was nice, so I could really work towards some 6 hours and some 30 hours skilling. So that was cool to do. Yeah, so 91 mil XP and almost 92 mil XP gained. And I guess the last thing I'll touch on here is that 92 mil that we gained in that 9 days has pushed us to close to rank 2 now. So rank 2 is very close to obtain. I can expect to get rank 2 by what, July 1st. I gain what I need 36 mil XP. So to get 36 mil XP, all I need to really do is do fire making to 200 mil, and I'll have that in no time. So we passed 1.9 bill XP, we passed 100 mil cooking, we passed, I guess we were already past 100 mil fire making. What else did we pass? Anything? We did a bunch of fishing up to the bingo, like up to when the bingo began through Karambons. So we passed 40 mil fishing, getting close to 50 mil. Definitely will pass that soon. Drift nets, which I plan on using. Anything else worth noting? Did a bit of prayer. Oh, we passed 30 mil herblore, yes, and 30 mil agility. We both passed. So yeah, I also passed 30 mil con. So we did 30 mil agility, 30 mil herblore, and 30 mil con. We passed. That's big. Some big milestones out of the way. All right. In summary, sadly we didn't win the bingo. We tied in tile points, but it came down to board hours to break the tie, and we're 4 hours short. Looking forward to having another one in the future. I think they usually run like every 4 to 6 months. So maybe you look for another one in fall or in the winter. And I'll just be ready for that. I'll just relax from now on and just chill out, go outside. We were definitely not getting a lot of sleep, so it's gonna be nice to just not have to just be feeling tired all day. I definitely got 14 hours. I got 14 hours of sleep right after the bingo ended, so that was nice and refreshing. But yeah, have a good day, guys. I'm just gonna be making these nets. See you soon.